Okay, some other points I wanted to make about, a new system is that, a lot of people are worried about, the baby boomers are all retiring. I mean, and most of this system is all being held in place. These politicians, these idiot politicians that keep getting voted into office are primarily supported by the baby boomers, because the baby boomers have the most invested in this old debt-based system. So they're worried about that, if they change politicians too radically, if they were to vote somebody like me into office, where I would, declare debt jubilee, that's another point I want to get to, and start issuing a new currency, how do they enter that new system? Well, I think for a time, and it doesn't have to be perpetual, but the way to get some of the new currency into the system is to pay Social Security benefits, and we're going to have to wipe out public pensions, because, or at least cut them way back, because flooding the system with too much currency will cause inflation, and we don't want inflation. We want slight deflation, so that people's savings buy more, the longer they save further down the road. And part of the check on that will be, if people move their currency into gold and silver, that'll also protect them and offer them the protection against any inflation, if that's what people are worried about. See, there's so much of this that's never explained in school. I mean, they give you, just the basic thing, like, kids get propagandized by banks all the time. They say, oh, come in and, we'll explain to you how a savings account works or a checking account works, and blah, 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 blah. Never telling you that when you put your money into a checking or savings account, that it is no longer your money. The bank owns it, and you are the last on the list to be repaid in case of a bankruptcy, default, or whatever, bank run. You're last, because you're an unsecured creditor, thanks to Dodd-Frank, and thanks to Tom Carper, and thanks to Chris Coons, our senators here in Delaware. Oh yeah, and what's his name? John Cornyn, our congressman. It's so the new currency could be issued out so that and so that old people are protected. By paying them their Social Security benefits in the new currency, and they're going to use it to buy real things: food, pay their mortgage, pay their rents, or whatever they're doing. Hopefully their house is paid off by the time you start collecting that. But another thing is that when you get this new currency, you don't want to hoard it away into a bank, and you don't want to go investing in a bunch of crap paper, some Wall Street gimmick, some, Ponzi scheme or whatever. We need to get back investing locally, so that, invest in a farm, or invest in somebody who's working on some of this free energy technology. There's so many different ways that you can much better invest your money than let it be stolen by Wall Street, or being invested in something that's toxic or poisonous, or that's primarily where most people's investments are right now. There's the things like DuPont or Monsanto, whether you know it or not. So I forgot what the main point of this second, there's third video is, but it's just going to be a mess, and we want to start wrapping our heads around some different ideas that going forward. But all I know is that the current volume of Federal Reserve notes, the debt that's been issued, has to be wiped out, disappear. There's no way to pay for it. There's trillions, quadrillions of dollars worth of derivatives that, it's impossible to pay off. And if interest rates rise, or when they rise, because we're now seeing the 10 and 30-year bond rates start to go up, that's going to trigger these interest rate swaps, and the firms that sold the interest rate swaps and are collecting the premium are not going to be able to pay out whatever that triggers, the interest supplement payment, or whatever, however all that works. Because they're betting the interest rates are going to stay low, so they collect the difference. Well, when they can no longer collect the difference, and instead they're having to pay out to cover these higher interest rates, because that was the bet part, that was the side of the bet that they took. They're going to be bankruptcy this, bankruptcy that, or the Fed is just going to have to print to infinity. And we're talking quadrillions of dollars. You're talking about just a total flush of money into the system. And remember, only 3% of it is an actual paper, physical cash. And that's going to push us more towards that chip, that credit card, the plastic, a form of currency that can be printed to infinity by a bunch of fucking assholes. They don't give a shit about you. Now that's basically what it all comes down to, is who controls the currency. If Congress controlled the currency and they issued the currency, to pay for their poor projects, you want to build a museum, that's fine. Because where does that money go to build the museum if it's a nationally issued currency? Number one, the currency is just issued into the system. There's no debt attached. That currency goes to pay contractors, pay material suppliers, pay construction workers to build a museum, and you're going to hire somebody to keep it clean and to give tours or whatever. All right, and that could be nationally issued currency. And it can just be printed out of thin air, just as it is now, but without the debt attached to it, because it's a national currency, not the private currency. That was the thing I wanted to hammer home, is the difference, or how we could transition.